Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for calling me first. I think that since we are local people, that is why I'm called first, to speak the mind of the local people of the Gambia. Honorable members, I also thank you for having time to listen to respond to some of the concerns that you raise as far as local government and religious affairs are concerned. Madam Speaker, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the leadership quality that you displayed during my presence yesterday and today. And on my behalf, I want you to extend the same congratulations to the honorable members of this august body. Madam Speaker, last year, I think this is the third session of the year. Last year, sometime around this time, we have had members of this national body, most of them coming fresh on holidays from Somaliland, and they have been advocating for a support for the independence of Somaliland. Unfortunately, this year, because of the pandemic, they could not resort to their holiday resort, which is in Somaliland. I wish and I hope next year, this time, things will be very easy and there will be no lockdown so that they will be able to go and refresh themselves in Somaliland. Having said that, Madam Speaker, I will now want to go straight to an issue, a concern raised by the member for Brikama South. That's the famous Dimbaya border point. Yes, it is a concern to him and everybody around there. So it is a concern to us as a ministry and a government as a whole. But I think last session, during the question and answer session here, I did try to deal with the issue. And I said there are sensitive information that I am privy to, and it will not be wise to use the floor of this House, since we are on live, to release some of those information. And I will still want to maintain that. But nonetheless, we are prepared to share those information with any member who is so interested. And hopefully, when things are eased, I'll be able to engage the Select Committee on Local Governance to share with them what I know. But for the time being, I think we have, I said last session that we sent the governor and even my permanent secretary was to sensitize the community to exercise restraint as the issue was between two states. And during our last presidential summit in Dakar, we had agreed on a program of activities vis-a-vis the border between Senegal and Gambia are concerned. There are activities to be undertaken before actual demarcation. And that has been stalled by the lockdown as a result of that the border between the two nations were closed. So we could not proceed. And another point is, on the southern side of the between Senegal and Gambia, there needs to be a demining, which also is hampering our activity around that border. But some of the incidents that took place between the security forces of these two nations was reported to the authority in the Gambia, and I am sure the Minister of Defense is here. When he takes the floor, he will be able to brief you as to whether he has spoken to his counterpart in Dakar. And he also talked about the real estate agents' regulations. And I think I informed this House that we had forced them to come together and be registered. And each and every real estate who was in default have his documents refused to be endorsed. That compelled them to come together. And we, at this moment, we have formulated regulation which need to be validated for the preparation of a bill to be submitted to this House for enactment. I understand in my absence yesterday before I arrived, there was a request, a concern raised about the functionality of the Lands Commission. This was also highlighted today by some members, including the Banjul South, and I think other members here. Also the Deputy Speaker, also I think he touched on it. Here I will want to remind members, I know you know about it already, because this is an act that you enacted here, creating the Lands Commission. It is, although it's a constitutional requirement, but there is also an act of parliament which defines their functions. And with your permission, I want to read some of those functions to be able to guide you as to their program of activities and what they have done and what they have not done as yet. Madam Speaker, Section 14 of the Act, 14A, the Commission shall advise the Minister on policy matters relating to land administration to ensure strict adherence to those policies and transparency in land allocation. This is internal. That's between the Ministry and the Commission, which is currently happening, is existing, to investigate disputes on land ownership and occupation in any area of the Gambia. This can only happen when there is a complete cadastral mapping of the country. And as at now, the Ministry has formulated a policy to undertake such venture, but our problem is we are still engaging partners locally and externally to be able to finance this activity. Unless that is done, this activity will not be noticed in the country. Subsection C, access land rent. Assess land rent and premium for properties within any area in the Gambia. That is also internal. That is between the Commission and the Ministry and the Department, which is also existing. Monitor registration of properties and inspect land registers and records. That's also internal. E, be responsible for all matters relating to national boundaries, including monitoring and reporting to the Minister, and to perform such other functions as the Minister may assign to it. Here, the experience with commissions here is the ad hoc commissions of inquiry, which hold public sittings. That's where people notice that their activity. And this, by the law, this commission is not one of the functions to hold public sittings. That is why the activities are not visible. But they have gone around the country, sensitized the people throughout the country, length and breadth of the Gambia, regionals, and they held discussions with regional governors, the district chiefs, and some of the local authorities there. And they informed them that they are the commission, all disputes should be coming to them for possible investigations. And most of the land disputes that are around in the country are either adjudicated upon or they are before the tribunals. And in those cases, the Commission has no authority to interfere with some of those cases. One of the case point is, I will cite one or two. The famous Gunjur branding incident. This is a case, I think the Honorable Member for Combo South, that is a case that was decided upon in the First Republic, in the 80s. So that is something, it's an unfortunate incident, but nobody from the Ministry to the Lands Commission can interfere with that one. But when government saw it necessary, a task force was set up and to be able to determine the boundaries of the disputed area. And I think as at now, the report is being implemented. Also, on the Woolly West, this is a case between two villages there. My honorable elder brother will bear me witness that it was also adjudicated upon in the 80s or early in the 90s, and it is already decided upon. All we could do is to assist to be able to identify the boundary and demarcate it. And he is also aware that my ministry from the permanent secretary to both directors, deputy permanent secretary, and senior surveyors, were there on 2 occasions. I think they spent about 2 weeks, including the regional governor. And they were able to establish the boundary, and they already established, after establishing the boundary, they installed the boundary pillars there. Just to be told the following morning that people on the other side at night went and destroyed all those pillars. Now has been an arrest made, people have been charged, and they are before the courts. So as before the result of the end of the trial, there's not much we can do. But we want to maintain that that boundary is the boundary, and those pillars will have to be returned there. And the people who did those boundaries will have to pay for the cost of the order. And also in Tumana, I think the member of Tumana also is asking for the same thing. This is also a case that is before the tribunal. A decision was reached at the High Court to restrain both parties from interfering with the land. And some people decide to take the law into their own hands, and that's not much we can do. There are disputes all over in the country, but there is also, we have evidence that most of the disputes have been settled either at our level or the level of the regional administrations. And those are cases that are not populist. Some of them are before the tribunals, and that's the judicial functions of the district tribunal, and they only report to the judiciary, not to the ministry. We also received some concerns about the closure of the Lumos. Yes, this is a very important component of the provincial councils to operate, but we also must bear in mind that most of these Lumos, almost 90% to 100% of them, are all along the borders. And the borders are closed, so even if we open the borders, we are inviting the spread of the COVID-19 into the country. And the purpose of the closure of the borders is to be able to control the spread of the disease. I'm not sure if I have not left anything out, and if I do, if any member raises a concern which I have not addressed, I'm willing to hear and then respond to it. I think in short, I try to summarize the concerns raised, all land commission related, that I was able to address them together. So I don't know whether something is left out before I take my seat. Since there is no other concern raised,
if we, at this point in time, if we start taking clarifications, excuse me, on each intervention or on each response by an honorable or by any honorable minister, I'm afraid we may spend the rest of the evening here. Why don't we allow them to respond, and probably when Her Excellency wraps up, we'll be able to clarify some of those issues that you feel have not been touched. It's just by way of...
Madam Speaker, with your permission, can you...
When we ask for the floor, we have to take it easy. When I finish with him, then somebody else, whoever wants to come on board can come on board, but I cannot hear 2 or 3 people at the same time. I have said that over and over again. So if you can just allow other honorable ministers to respond to their areas of concern. Yes?
Yes. Madam Speaker, I just want to clarify from you, not from the minister. What you are saying is an element that I want us to understand, because the minister has responded to the deliberation made by the members. Now, I think when there should be any clarification, it is the minister to clarify those issues, because he's the material person on the ground. done under the vice president, because we cannot wait for all the, after all this, the ministers response, and then the vice will come and then wrap up everything. What are we taking?
Can you also look at this other scenario? Supposing every honorable member wants to seek for clarification from this honorable minister, and then on some other issue related thereto, how do we resolve that? Honorable member for Basse.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, 1997 Constitution, Section 77(3), it reads with your permission, the Vice President shall answer in the National Assembly for matters affecting the President, and that the President shall be entitled to send a message to the National Assembly to be read on his or her behalf by the Vice President. And the four reads, with your permission, the Vice President or a Secretary of State shall, when requested by the National Assembly, report to the National Assembly on any matter concerning a department or other business of the government committed to his or her charge, and shall be entitled to attend and speak in the National Assembly whenever any bill or other matter concerning such department or business is being debated. Honourable Speaker, based on this, His Excellency, the President, has come and addressed the nation through the Parliament. The Vice President, Her Excellency, has come on behalf of the President. All the MPs have that chance to express their concern about the speech of the President. I would like to propose to my colleagues, if possible, to move a motion on Standing Order 53C so that we stop the intervention of the ministers and we allow Her Excellency Vice President to answer to issues. All issues raised here, we can still rely on this 77.4 to further engage the honorable ministers at the committee level so that we can go into detail about the concerns raised here. So this is the motion that I want to move. I so move. Thank you.
I'm moving a motion under 53C.
Seconded.
No, there's a motion on the floor. We have to
The motion has to be seconded.
we have to follow the process. Pardon?
The motion has to be seconded.
No, before we second it, let us read it and know what it's talking about.
It doesn't need a
The
motion.
motion is a motions without notice, motions which may be made without notice. And it's 53C. The following motions may be made without notice. C, a motion for the adjournment of a debate. Honorable member for Basse, I'm referring to your motion.
Honorable Basse.
So the honorable, you see, we have to be sure of what we are doing. You moved the motion, am I right?
Honourable Speaker, if I can be allowed 53K. 53K. K. A motion agreed by the Speaker to be a matter of urgency. With your permission.
To put me on the spot. I think there is need for us to specify. You want to come on the C, or are you coming on the K, asking me to use my discretion to agree to a motion as a matter of urgency? What is the motion? And we need to know what is the urgency.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. The purpose of the motion is to stop the intervention of the ministers and to allow the Vice President, Her Excellency, to come and answer to issues. This is the essence of the motion. And I so move. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker.
Sorry, asking me to use my discretion to allow him, the honorable member, to move a motion, to allow him to move a motion to stop adjourn the debate. Am I right? Or to stop honorable ministers from further responding. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Further responding and allow Her Excellency the Vice President to respond to all the issues. Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that what you are requesting? The motion has been moved. You said you want to second it?
Yes, second.
Any seconder? So our central body move?
Seconded.
Seconded. Good. We'll get there. Let us just take it step by step. It has been moved and seconded that the Vice President, we allow Her Excellency the Vice President to respond to the issues that have been raised as opposed to individual minister responding in respect of their respective portfolios. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no.
No.
No. So the ayes have it. No, the ayes have it. So, no, please.
Madam Speaker, I think I am the, I think I am the on, I have been the on, I am the, yes.
The House has decided that Her Excellency the Vice President will respond to the issues that have been raised generally. So may I now call on Her Excellency the Vice President to respond to the issues generally. Thank you very much. It's your decision. The motion was moved, not mine.
Madam Speaker, Honorable National Assembly members, Honorable Cabinet Ministers, all other protocols respectfully observed. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I want to thank the Lord Almighty for bringing us together once again on a third note to look at the affairs of the country based on the constitutional responsibility and requirement of His Excellency President Barrow to give the address of the State of the Nation and to allow the August National Assembly body to look at it and come up with their views and comments, and to allow us to be on a constructive engagement in steering the business of this nation. We thank God that most of us are alive, and those who died, only one thank to the Lord Almighty. May His soul rest in peace, and may the Lord give us long life for us to be able to continue deliberations on matters of the nation as we move forward within the framework of our legal mandates. First and foremost, I want to say that this debate has been a very constructive, very positive, very useful, very eye-opening, and very objective process. From yesterday to today, the fact that we have come to the second day shows that there is great progress in this. And I want to first and foremost say thank you to all of you for making it possible within this situation to be able to sit down and look at the State of the Nation's report of His Excellency President Adama Barrow. I first and foremost want to congratulate all of you for the great comments that you have given and made of the report, particularly the introductory remarks and conclusions. Appreciation of most of the NAMs for the great contributions over the years and the constructive observations and contributions, suggestions to improve on His Excellency's State of the Nation address. I want to thank you. Any other shortcomings or weaknesses of the report is not His Excellency's. It is the responsibility of all of us who have given him the responsibility to report on such a Herculean task of having to deal with quite a number of ministries, as we have already discerned and seen in this report. And therefore, he could not capture everything. Not being able to capture everything is not his fault. Neither is it the fault of myself, neither is it any other's fault, but because he wanted to play a fair share for each of the ministries and therefore could not bring in everything that you might have desired. But at least the report has given you the framework. It has given you the opportunity to be able to give constructive criticisms and positive feedbacks to it. And that was the purpose. I would like to first of all tell you that my methodology of responding to the issues that you have raised and the fact that you have decided that I should respond to everything is to make it clear that I am not the subject matter specialist, and neither here are we all subject matter specialists. That is why you have different sectors and different ministries taking responsibility of working in their ministries and bringing in their contributions for this type of very useful address to be presented. So all the issues that were presented or the reports that were given were summarized. These are synopses. These are synopses that were extracted from the main report. And if you so desire or need a comprehensive information, as most of you have asked, the ministries are available. You can engage in your subcommittees. You can also personally, because you have the right to ask any ministry to give you information that is necessary to help you in supporting it or doing. And when I looked at the contributions, when I looked at the discussions, I saw a very positive vibe, very, very positive vibe. And to me, this is a great thing because we are in it together. What can we do to help? How can we help you? We are helping to assist. We are assisting you. I have had the honorable member for Serekunda and many other honorable members. We have assisted in bringing in this. We have assisted, we would assist and so on. That is the spirit. That is the spirit of how we move our country together, irrespective of our diversities. And I have seen that being asked and expressed in almost many of these aspects, and that's the spirit. And it is very confirming, very, very positive that this country will move forward. We'll move because we are together in it. No one person can do it. I appreciate the concerns you raised with regards to a lot of issues, but I also want to appreciate the fact that you have captured some of the things in the introductory remarks of the President, His Excellency, with regards to crowning statements looking at the context of what are we everything has to be contextualized. And that contextualization is based on the situation, on the circumstances we all found ourselves. And now, what is that context? As His Excellency presents this State of the Nation address, even a primary one child can tell us. COVID-19, we are caught up in a situation that all of us know came by surprise to everybody all over the world. And we cannot but have to pay attention to it. We cannot but have to address it. We cannot but have to do things to suit ourselves in that context. And that is what the President has said clearly. Most of you have actually quoted that in trying to remind us about the introductory remarks and your appreciation of those sections. And I think I share the same view with you all over the world. The comments I am getting after people are reading this is the same comments that you are giving us. And you are the legislators. You are the people who should understand the context even much better, so that the issues you are raising, the critical issues you are raising, like less resources here, we are not giving focus to other attention to certain things. When the bills come, you will give them more money, you will give them more work guidance, you will support the Minister of Finance, you will support all other ministers to be able to do what they are supposed to do because of the effects and the impact. There are shortcomings, yes, but those shortcomings can be addressed working closely with the specific ministries that are supposed to move on with the process. So I urge all of you, it is your right, your fundamental right, and your duty to the people that you represent to go out and hunt for those information. It is your right for you to go and engage constructively, because we need each other. We cannot do it alone, neither can you do it alone, nor can any other body do it alone. So we need each other, and needing each other means working together, recognizing the challenges that we all face, especially during the COVID context. And if not the COVID, there will always be challenges. But our job is to narrow those challenges and turn them into opportunities for people to benefit. And that's exactly why we are here. And I appreciate your constructive suggestions. I've taken so much. I'm going to write it again. So much. And I have picked up from your constructive engagement with some of the issues of sector by sector. And I will try as much as possible to respond to some of the information which I can give you now. But I will also refer you to the ministries who are responsible for giving the first-hand information. That is the reason why I felt this is your space. It's not, we are here, we are invited. I thought the first suggestion that was given by the Honorable Speaker to allow the ministers who are present here today, even if you look at the provisions that have been mentioned by the Basse, it gives that flexibility, if possible, to allow the people where these things originate from and the fundamental questions that you are asking to be able to stand, because I've kept them here since yesterday, I've kept them here today, and they took their responsibilities to engage and try to get more information, to be able to come and stand here and give you the responses of the questions firsthand, to be able to clear your doubts and be able to forge that relationship and take it further with them. Because I know there are different subcommittees. And indeed, those subcommittees are really valuable. And they do a lot of work before we come to the State of the Nation. They are engaged with the ministers, and they will be able to put in their perspective. Some of the documents have been submitted to some of those subcommittees. And to me, I think this would have been a better strategy. But I have no control over it, so I am going to engage. But I urge you, any further clarification, you have to go to the relevant institution to ensure that they are going to respond. Now, I also want to say that I am primarily here, as you are, I appreciate your concerns you raised on behalf of your constituencies and communities. This is primarily why you are all here, because it is the people behind you that you represent that matter, and that matters to this government, and should be the issue for everybody. And therefore, we are going to take every issue you raise seriously, every issue that has been commented, and we are within our means. We're going to take it seriously and see what we can do. And I believe that the comments that has come all through along, I think it's very clear that we have made some progress since last year. Then I want to also say that you are also to legislate on matters. And I want to congratulate all of you. I really want to congratulate all of you. Having sat down there writing, listening, you have legislated a lot of things and bills. Very useful, not for us now, but for the future. I want to congratulate you for that. I don't know the numbers, but the amount of bills that have passed and the amount of energies that have been done with your constructive participation in them is indeed a very positive thing, that the enabling environment is there. That is why it happened. It is created, it is facilitated, and we all collectively worked into it. And you gave us, you assisted us. It's not only assisted, you contributed. Because we don't know it all, neither do you know it all, and we expect to engage in other areas. So I just want to congratulate all of you and to say that you've done a great job. Lucky to be here the third time. And being a witness to this, I think I have to be frank and objectively analytical in what I saw. And I want to thank all of you, despite the diversity. You've done well. This is the spirit with which we have to work on, to move this country forward, because it was the collective spirit that brought us together to work together. And I have seen that manifested today by the product and the evidence and the results and the analysis. Most of the analysis were so positive, were so good and so constructive, even if it is bitter. I appreciate it. And we all appreciate it as ministers, and it will make us sit up more to do more for our country, because our people deserve more and better. I am very happy also to tell you that you represent the voices of your people. We are also there to facilitate. That's why this government is facilitating every process for this. And these voices will not be left unheard through you. A lot of issues has been raised to different sectors, while others are specific, others are cross-cutting. And even if you see from the way, all of you were looking at the State of the Nation's address by His Excellency President Barrow. You have been repeating yourselves, you have been calling on, and there are specificities, and this is what makes it beautiful. That shows that there is a concern, and we have to deal with it. I am also very happy to have my ministers, the ministers here, who have been sitting down, taking note, and they have done quite a lot of work. They have already come up with their write-ups. But as I said, since this is the way you want it, I will let them have it in their hands. And then when you are ready, you can consult them. But it would have been a better thing for all of you to hear what was being said about critical issues raised by individual ministers. Ministry of Health. The issue about the high rate of maternal mortality, the issues of women's sexual and reproductive health rights, the issues of the health sector has been raised quite a number of times. Yes, it is a concern, and I am happy that the Minister for Health has been able to, you have summoned him, he has come, he has given you a report, and he has said if you need more, he will work with the with the subcommittee on health to provide more. I don't think I have to delve into that. I don't have to, because he has given. Even if you feel it is not comprehensive, you will have the opportunity to constructively engage with him. You have also heard the lands issue has come, which is a very contentious issue. It affects every Gambian, whether we know it or not. It is a very sensitive matter. But the Minister for Land also has come out to tell you what work is going on, how things are moving, and the efforts that are being done. And a lot is being done, as you know. I would want to also inform you that before I go into the whole thing, what is a State of the Nation address? I had this Deputy Speaker, just to give context and to get into the main crux of what some of you have asked, is to state that the State of the Nation address is a constitutional obligation and yearly tradition wherein the executive reports on the status of the country, unveils the government's agenda for the coming year, and proposes to Parliament certain legislative measures where possible. We have seen what the President have done. It is a statement, it is an address, it is not a report. If it is about reporting of the executive, that is all the ministries giving a report, we will be dealing with almost 5,000 pages. So I want to make it very clear here that it is not a report. It's an address, a statement that tries to capture and encapsulate everything that was provided by the various ministries, because a circular was sent to all the ministries to get, and all the ministries that have their department, to come up with some report on what they have, activities they have done for the year. It is context specific. We have to understand it is context specific because we have done it 1 year, 2 year, in year 3. So the year that we are talking about is context specific. And because it is context specific, we try as much as possible to make sure that we bring in. Of course, we cannot give you everything, and I want to make that any shortcomings is my fault. Any shortcoming is my fault. You won't be able to see everything there because all the ministries have to give in, and we have to pick up from each and every one of them to be able to come with this State of the Nation report. So some of the things that you appreciate, we honorably thank you for that. It is not ours, it is yours and ours and everybody's. Those that you feel are inadequate, please, the floor is open for you to go to the relevant ministries. If I don't answer it adequately, meet them, meet the ministers or the technical people, because we are supported by our technical people, to give you the main reports that are available to give you better insights into it. So I would take the blame and nobody else should take it, because we now learn, I have taken notes to say that we will see. But normally, the State of the report, the State of the Nation address takes 1 hour. And can you imagine, you have more than 15 or 20 ministries, what that means. So we want to. It is a speech made by the head of state to the legislature. The president gives the administration's view of the condition of the nation. It focuses on current political and socio-economic status of the country. He has done that, and I'm sure your analysis have shown you those things. He may not cover everything, but it gives a gist of what is needed, and anybody can build on top of that. But we have taken note. I can assure you everything discussed here. Notes have been taken. The permanent secretaries are here, our technical arm. I take my own notes, and the ministers are taking their notes. We will try to look at what we can do to respond to some of those lacuna that some of you have identified. You will also, security of our border forces under the Ministry of Interior. Actually, you already know that land, interior, defense, health are all concerned about the interior and also the communities. There is a technical body that is put together to look at those issues of borders. Particularly, the lead ministry with regards to surveillance and protection of the borders have been working seriously on it. The minister is here. It would have been better if he came and tell you exactly what was happening, but the process is going on, and I am aware administratively that a lot of work has been done and is going on in terms of that. With regards to the materials that we are talking about, because of the context of the circumstances we are in, COVID-19 subcommittee that was instituted by His Excellency President Barrow in response to the COVID pandemic has a dimensional strategy that brings in all the relevant institutions, because we know COVID has different phases. COVID is affecting everybody, and therefore every sector has a role to play. One may be more important than the other because of the circumstances, but they all have. And in that body, when these issues come, they come up. We are all supporting health because it's a health pandemic, but it has social, political, and economic implications. And because of that, we want to help. Health is going to be the center of the focus, and that whatever resources that do come is all focused towards strengthening the health sector, towards facilitating for the health sector, and ensuring that we make things available and happening for us to deal with the pandemic strategically. That COVID subcommittee has had the Minister of Interior bring its needs based on the analysis and the assessments that were done. And of course, the resources, this is a multi-sectoral approach. It has a multi-sectoral and multi-dimensional implication, and therefore everybody has to be given something to be able to kickstart. Now, the amount of money that was given has been put in those aspects, and the Interior Ministry was not left. There were, I think we bought about 12 vehicles. There are so many things that have come in. A lot of these issues are based on their demand and request, and many more things are in the pipeline, but the resources are limited. So I think this is an opportunity for you people to know that the money is not sufficient, but we appreciate the gesture and the efforts you have made to make sure that this thing is appropriated for us to start the process. I want to appreciate you. We also know that all the other demands that are coming is dependent on that, including support from our partners. But of course, like all of you rightly said, we have to empower ourselves before we think about outside. But we want to express appreciation to our partners for coming to join us in moving this COVID within the development frame of this country based on the National Development Plan, and therefore COVIDizing it. What I mean by this is that whatever we do is thought of through the framework of COVID. We have front-loaded so many materials or support to support the COVID. The Minister for Finance has done a lot of work, and his team, including other sectors, to see how best do we contextualize the situation and ensure that we deal with the salient, most important in terms of priorities, to be able to respond to this pandemic. And I'm very proud today to tell you that the Gambia is not doing badly. The Minister of Health was very modest, but I think there are so many positive comments. When we are considered internationally, and when comments come out, analysis come out, the Gambia is doing very, very well. It is because of the efforts of the Ministry of Health and all the sectors who have, in one way or the other, come together to support this process to make sure that the Ministry of Health will be able to move forward, looking at other sectors, because it has a multifaceted dimension. And I am not surprised for the great appreciation you have made of the Minister of Health. Challenges are there. We cannot but accept and recognize those challenges. Those challenges is what makes us sit up. If everything is successful, then why do we have to be coming here? Why do we need to be scrutinized? Why do we need to be looked at? So therefore, I want us to respond to your own call. I think I have recorded it many, many times that there are challenges, but you appreciated the Ministry of Health. I don't know whether it is within the frame of this House, whether it is part of your procedures, for us to take time just to stand up and clap for the Ministry of Health and the frontliners that you have actually appreciated, to show the world that the Gambia is doing well because of those people who are behind us. If it is possible in the House, I want us to stand and clap for them, 1, 2, 3, to show the world, because you have said it. You have talked about it, if it is not within the frame, but I want to appreciate and say thank you for you accepting and understanding and recognizing the efforts of the healthcare workers, the Ministry of Health under the leadership of His Honorable Samate, and all the other ministries that have supported them to reach there, despite the challenges. I know it's not easy, but they have sacrificed their life. For those that died during their services, may the Lord Almighty give them Jannatul Firdausi and be recognized forever in the history of the Gambia for laying their lives for COVID. I think your appreciation of that shows how much this government has given emphasis to deal with the COVID pandemic. And I thank you all. We are all in it together. Environment. A lot has been said, and the minister had prepared himself, but what I can respond now here is the environment is moving forward. Last year when I came here, they were building a headquarters in the center of animal kingdom. We all know that it has been, and the progress building is going, is quite clear. Things are moving progressively, and the plans are going ahead. There has been a lot of tree planting across the country, which some of you have even participated as National Assembly members. I may not be able to give you the figures in money because I did not equip myself with that. That was why I brought them. But I can tell you that the tree planting exercise has made a great distinction in greening our environment. There is a process of greening. The sensitivity, the awareness is there. Women, young people, communities, youth are engaged in tree planting exercises in their various areas, and I think that's the right direction. The mindset is changing, and the response is positive, so we encourage that. So whether it is in the greater Banjul area, but right across the country, I think we should appreciate about that. And there is also, within the land policy, a bill that is drafted that looks at so many things. With regards to the land policy, there is a bill that is already going on. And part of that also is going to be dealing with environmental land issues and so on. I want to apologize also for the mistakes that were found in the document. To err is human. But very small, they are very small. I read it also, but it was too late to have corrected it when it has been printed already. But it's good that you have picked it up, which shows you are really up and doing, and I congratulate you for that. We should not allow anything to slip. So we take responsibility for that. And next one, maybe, we will not be able to, you will not see any of those. Some of you said you want to thank the Minister of Health for the giant steps taken to combat COVID-19. You appreciated other institutions, Red Cross, civil society, women's organizations, NGOs. You also asked the Minister of Health to specify where the treatment centers were built. If you look at the newspapers, because there should be different sources, you travel a lot, you monitor a lot, you follow up a lot. But also the newspapers do carry some information. There are briefings also done by the various by the Minister for Health, and he has mentioned this many times, where the treatment centers are planned. If you don't know it all, but there are a few that are already around here, we know, and up country also, across the 7 regions within the country, all the hospitals, all the health facilities that are major health centers are going to be having a treatment center, if I get it right. I know of that. So maybe to confirm some of these things, it's good to engage with the Minister for Health. Then he will give you specifically. It is not meant to be in every village. It is not meant to be in every constituency. But it is meant to represent regions. Each region must have it. And I think that's a policy that they have put in. And where the hospital is a big facility, they look for extensions where they could do. But we pray to the Lord Almighty that COVID is not, we will have those preemptive measures, put those things in place to mitigate. But we pray that COVID does not progress to the point that we have to start looking at where things are going. And so far, so good. We thank the Lord Almighty. God is great. But why is it that we are not doing badly? It's because of what you are wearing. Washing our hands with soap and water. Social distancing. Trying to avoid crowds. These are the things. Let's keep on that and support each other. Let us recognize that and respect each other and support that that we will all be safe. That's the first step to do. Then there is how do we create room for you to start business in their areas. The Minister for Trade would had come up with a beautiful write-up to show the number. You have the YEP project. You have all other projects that they are doing at the Techifi is here. You also have other projects and youth trade centers, employment centers to train the youth. Because let's understand the characteristic of our youth. It's about they are over 60% of the population. They are vulnerable for the fact that if you are not educated, it's very difficult, and the chances, there are challenges that are faced, even for those who are educated and those who are not educated. We have to recognize those realities and accept them to be able to address the issue of youth employment, education, capacity building, skills. But we cannot afford to say the youth need it, why do they accept? There is dignity in labor. Take what you have until you get what you want, but work towards it. There is nothing wrong in preparing a plan. Preparing, the Minister of Trade is doing that. Ministry of Youth is on it. You have Ministry of Education. You have the Ministry of Women's Affairs. You have Agriculture. It's a multifaceted dimension. Wherever you go, you have youth as a cross-cutting issue. Just you have women's issues as a cross-cutting issue. So that whichever ministry is going to deal with these things, there should be a policy in place that is going to help address the capacity issues in the areas these young people want, that is going to address the job issues that these people want, and to move forward with the process in terms of let them have something to keep them. Look, carrying loads to go to the up and down and earning $3,000 at the end of the day. There are some people in the civil service who don't have it. You go home with dignity. You are young, you have exercised your capacity as far as you can. And even if you had left school and before you can find anything, you find a job like that, why don't you go and work, get it, and help yourself whilst you are looking for? We were all students, and when we left, we did a lot of jobs before we became who we are. So dignity in labor has to be respected, and to inculcate in our youth that you aspire high. Nobody is telling the youth not to, and we are doing everything we can to have the best quality because they are the ones to graduate to adults. This is the social capital that we need, but with the current situation, take what you have until you get what you want, and we must not politicize the issue of youth at all. We must not politicize it because everybody wants your child to get the best. But in the absence of everything, take what you have to move forward. This is the reality on the ground. Because what you need is to live in dignity. What you want to do is to be able to solve your problem. What you want to do is to move and self-actualize. You may earn that money to go to university. You may earn the money to go to college. You may earn it to start a business. These are some of the things that are needed. So the young people, please engage this government, and all the members who are representing you have the best in their minds for you. They will do everything that they can, but don't sit down when you see an opportunity. You can use your dignity to get it and move. We don't want people to steal. We don't want people to adulterate. We don't want people to go around doing certain things because they cannot even buy bread or butter. They cannot buy soap for themselves, even slippers. So if you can go and do something and buy it and not be disappoint your parents, is better. So the issue of youth, I think resources will be galvanized, more resources will be given, and there is efforts in the Ministry of Youth, the Ministry of the Women's Affairs, and so many other relevant institutions that are coming in terms of that. The job areas, Ministry of Trade is doing a lot. There is need for access to resources, you said, roads, fertilizers, agriculture. Yes, agriculture is one of the most important, and I appreciate the fact that in order of your analysis, everybody agree with me that there is a consensus that agriculture is a very important pillar in our country and in our livelihood, and we must give it the right decision. Again, a lot of efforts are being done. Last year, if we reflect, quite a number of issues were raised, and now if you come to tick the box, a lot has been done. But still, we have challenges, and COVID has come to make it worse. It has come to make it worse, and therefore we have to go back to the drawing table, to the drawing board, to say that fertilizer has not reached people from what I have captured. We may not be perfect, but quite a number of people have acknowledged that fertilizer, they've received their fertilizer. Some received it on time, some it was a bit late, and you have raised those issues. That's a fact. That's the reality on the ground. We have to acknowledge it. But then to say that nothing was given begs the question. So I want to say that more needs to be done. The Minister of Agriculture has taken note of all those things. He has taken note of the information that has generated from here regarding agriculture, and will do her utmost best in the ministry with her team to make sure that they will be able to move forward with the process. There was the issue of clarification required for why young people did not receive their food package, tickets, etc., were seized during the distribution of their tickets, during the distribution of the food. Let me just put you through to the issues that you raised, which has come out quite a number of times. And it's important that so that I want us all to be on the same page, to be able to discern and appreciate the amount of work that has been done in terms of what is needed, in terms of that is going to be tied and linked to the NAFA Quick, because it has to do with the NAFA Quick, the disbursement of those foods, and the money package, and so on. Quite a number of questions came. The technical people have empowered me with the right information, and as the head of that section, facilitating having a policy direction, I am there to guide the policy and to support the process. But each institution that is implicated in this is within a different sector, and my duty is to facilitate. And I want to first and foremost say that it was a very, very successful exercise. I have gotten it from the people across the country. I have monitored, and if you look at me, I had to go on a daily basis to sit at the McCarthy Square. It is not because I don't trust the people doing their work, but I wanted to see the way things are going on, and to ensure that there is what we call social auditing. You don't go and say, give me the numbers and so on. I'm sitting down to observe. I'm watching and I'm looking, and I want to make sure that whatever we put on the framework is going to work. So let me give you first the NAFA Quick cash transfer. At the same time, tell you the methodology and the strategies that we used in reaching out to such a high and large population who really appreciate this thing. The government of the Gambia, in collaboration with the World Bank, initiated the NAFA Quick Cash Transfer in response to the dire need for humanitarian assistance to poverty-stricken communities in the Gambia during the COVID-19 pandemic. It is not saying not everybody is poor, but poverty-stricken. We have degrees. We have to put them on the ladder. The project is implemented by government through NANA, under the Office of the Vice President, Department of Community Development, Department of Social Welfare, under the Ministry of Women, Children, and Social Welfare, and the Department of Community Development under the Ministry of Land and Regional Governance. The NAFA Quick Cash Transfer is premised upon the backdrop of government's initial universal in-kind transfer that targeted nearly 80 households to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. The NAFA Quick is targeting approximately 83 households in 30 districts, covering all the districts in the Phoenix. So that answers the question that the Honorable National Assembly from Phoenix asked. Lower River Region, Central River Region, Upper River Region, and one district in North Bank region, Sabah, Sanjal. 20 of these districts were selected based on the interrelated household survey 2015 to 2016 data by using the highest ranking headcount poverty rate plus poverty gap rate with the prevailing COVID-19 situation and additional 10 other districts covered by the social registry under the social safety net project were added. So you can see what we are doing is we are gradually building. You cannot provide everything. The spirit is very positive, I'm telling you. I listen to you, and I know that we are going to get there. The spirit is positive. You want everything for our communities, for our people, for the poor, and even the rich. We want them to be, because there should not be any exclusion, but we have to have affirmative action. Everybody has their challenges, but we have to prioritize, and that's what we have been doing. This was the reason why it started from 83, the districts, and then now we are increasing the districts. I want to assure you, I don't want to say it now, but then we are going to cover the whole country if we can. But we have to sit down and plan. That is the ultimate plan that that's what we feel. This is what this government wants, everybody to get out of the challenges. We feel it, we understand it, and we know it. With you people now coming with all the information, telling us in a very constructive, critical way, is in itself the best research we can do. That's why when I come, I take my paper, I'm writing. Because I know you have said it. You have said it. The NAFA Quick is providing universal cash transfer of $1,500 per month for a period of 4 months, covering the anticipated COVID-19 period. The transfer will be payable in 2 installments of $3,000 in 2 months interval. These are rapid responses. We already know when this thing came in, some cannot even buy food. Some cannot even go to the hospital or could not understand. And we know that there are people who can afford it. Today, the scenarios that were shared here, yesterday and today, with all the information that is given, shows how challenged we are. So it is our duty and responsibility for all of us to come together and work on them. It's not about this government, it's about this legislature, this place, because you are all here in your own rights, representing different people, different backgrounds, and the diversity is what makes it beautiful. So this is what it is. And inshallah, those of you who feel that maybe your constituency or your villages, communities are left, we will do our best. We are doing that. The framework is going on. But remember, you don't just say, yakun kun fayakun. It's only the Lord Almighty who can do that. What you do is to plan. We need to plan. We need to assess. We need to engage, work on committees, just like you have your cabinet subcommittees here dealing with this. And I want to thank all of you. You have all been constructively engaged. So also, are we going to engage with the different sectors that are going to do and engage the Minister for Finance? Because if money comes, it's not kept at the office of the Vice President. We have no access to money. It is through the fiduciary responsibility is the Finance Ministry. It is the one that is the custodian of any support or money that comes, and it prioritizes based on the framework and the portfolio that it needs to cover. So when it comes and it says give it to the people, we have to prioritize. And I want to assure you, we will do our best. Our UN partners are here. The international partners are very supportive. They know this is a global pandemic, and we are challenged, and they are ready to work with us, and are willing to do so. We also know that the pandemic has economic and financial implications, whether we like it or not. You are raising issues about from 6% to 2%. Of course. If the borders are locked, markets have been given short time to open. Some shops are even closed. Some livelihood strategies have been completely locked down because it is about balancing the act, life and death. Do we need money? Before you can go out to look for money, you need to be healthy. It's a pity. I can use myself as an example. I suffered from COVID. It's a deadly disease. COVID is deadly. It's deadly. It's not that I was asymptomatic. I had it. That is why I was just lucky to be supported, to get the right support, the right time, and to get the right team around me. But it's dead. When you are in a situation like that, even if they put $1 million out there, you don't want to see it. You are thinking of how am I going to stretch my legs and hands to be able to walk. Yes. So what happened is that those reduction financially has to be reported. We are transparent. We don't want to pretend. And nobody should pretend about the impact and effect of COVID. It affects everybody. If the Minister of Finance did not do it, I will challenge him. The President will challenge him. Others will challenge him, because we all know that closing all those things, the business environment is going to be shrunken. The business environment will not work. People are suffering. We know that. But it is what is suffering for us to quickly respond effectively based on medical advice. It's not because it was intended to all our families are business people or are running here and there to fend hand to mouth. Everybody here, one way or the other. So why do we have to make sure that things are unnecessarily difficult? It's about life and death. It's about the economy. It's about balancing the act to make sure that the Gambia will be able to stand up to this. The challenges are great. The challenges, let no one fool you. The challenges are great. That's why we have to work it together. The government has a role to play. The private sector has a role to play. The legislature, the judiciary, the individuals, the partners, donors, is a holistic approach. That's why they say it has to be coordinated. It has to be, a global strategy has to take, and then looking at our